When you think about attracting high-energy people into your life, the very first place you have to look is within. That's where it starts. You don't magnetize the best by hoping or wishing. You do it by becoming someone they naturally want to be around. Like attracts like. Energy attracts energy. So if you want people in your life who are driven, passionate, purposeful, and positive, you've got to live and breathe that same standard. You can't fake this. High-energy people can feel authenticity. They can sense alignment. They can spot passion from across the room because they're living it themselves. They don't want to be around people who drain them or dim their fire. They want people who spark something in them. And to do that, you've got to spark first. That spark doesn't come from being loud or flashy. It doesn't come from motivational quotes or showing off. It comes from living a life where your spirit is on fire, where you're clear about your direction, you're moving with purpose, and you've got a why that pushes you through the tough moments. You become magnetic when you're in motion, not when you're waiting for something to happen, not when you're stuck in fear or hoping someone will come along and pull you out of it. No, you start climbing, and you'll meet other climbers. You'll find people who are obsessed with growth, obsessed with pushing past limits, not because they're chasing status, but because they know that energy is life. You have to live that energy if you want to attract it. But let's talk real. A lot of people say they want high-energy people in their life, but they're not willing to make the internal shift to earn it. They're holding on to anger, playing small, constantly complaining, or carrying around old stories about what's not possible. Energy like that repels the very people you're trying to call in. You can't walk into a room full of focused, purpose-driven, high-level thinkers while you're still holding on to bitterness, blame, or laziness. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Nobody is. But you do have to be in motion. You do have to be responsible for your frequency. And you've got to commit to growth, not occasionally, but as a lifestyle. Now here's the thing about energy. It's not just about what you say or do. It's about how you show up when nobody's watching. How you treat the waitress. How you respond when things don't go your way. How disciplined you are when the mood isn't there. That's what builds the kind of internal alignment that makes you powerful. And that kind of power, quiet, grounded, focused, is exactly what high-energy people recognize and respect. When you're tuned into your own purpose, when your values and actions line up, you don't have to chase people. You don't have to impress anyone. You just walk into a space and people feel it. They feel the confidence that comes from being in alignment. They feel the peace that comes from someone who's not looking to take. They're looking to build. So here's the question, what energy are you carrying? Are you walking around with anxiety, self-doubt, and drama? Or are you carrying clarity, discipline, and vision? If you want to be in rooms where people challenge you, elevate you, and respect you, you've got to bring something to that table. You've got to show up as someone who respects their own life. That means taking care of your body, feeding your mind with quality thoughts, speaking with intention, and cutting off the habits and distractions that keep you stagnant. That means choosing every day to show up, not because you feel like it, but because your vision is bigger than your emotions. And let's be honest, this is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. Committed to becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the right people without forcing anything. You do that by embodying the energy you want to experience. If you want vibrant, creative, passionate people in your life, become that. Let it show in how you work. Let it show in how you move through adversity. Let it show in your discipline, your gratitude, your enthusiasm for life. You don't need to convince anyone when your life is the proof, because in the end, energy doesn't lie. It speaks louder than words, louder than plans, louder than intentions. And when your energy is aligned, when your life is radiating conviction, passion, and presence, you won't have to search for high-energy people. They'll find you. They'll recognize you. They'll feel you. And they'll stay. If you want to attract high-energy people into your life, you have to make space for them. That's something most people overlook. They're so focused on who they want to bring in, they forget to ask what or who needs to go. And I mean that. Because you can't plant new seeds in a garden that's overgrown with weeds. You can't build a fire in a room full of wet wood. If your environment is full of draining, toxic, negative influences, it doesn't matter how much you want high, energy people around you. They won't stay. They'll feel the clutter, the chaos, the weight of all that noise, and they'll keep moving. That's the truth. So what do I mean by your environment? I'm talking about everything that surrounds you. Your physical space, your relationships, your digital world, your routines. Your life is either designed to energize you or deplete you. And you know the difference. You know how you feel when you walk into a clean, inspiring room where everything is in order. You feel clear, grounded, focused. Now compare that to how you feel in a messy, loud, scattered space. It pulls on you. It distracts you. Same thing happens with people. Some people walk into your life and bring light. Others walk in and dim everything, not out of malice. Sometimes it's just the energy they're used to. But you've got to be intentional, because the quality of your surroundings shapes the quality of your vibration. And that vibration is what either attracts or repels the kind of people you say you want. Now let's talk real. For a lot of people, this means doing a hard audit of who they're allowing close. That friend who always complains. That family member who drains every ounce of your peace. That coworker who brings gossip instead of growth. You've got to ask yourself, what are these connections costing you? Not just in time or patience, but in energy. Because energy is the most valuable currency you've got. And you can't afford to waste it trying to fix people who don't want to grow. That doesn't mean you don't care. That doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're clear. You're choosing to surround yourself with people who challenge you, support you, push you to be better, not people who keep you stuck in old patterns. And listen, some of these changes won't be easy. Sometimes the most draining environments are the ones that are most familiar. You've lived in them so long, you've forgotten how heavy they are. But that weight, that background noise, it's stealing your focus, your ambition, your energy. You want high-energy people. Then you've got to clear out the low-energy anchors. You've got to create room for new connections to grow. Because high-energy people are intentional. They're not going to invest their time where the energy is scattered, unclear, or full of conflict. They're building things. They're moving fast. They're tuned in. And when they meet someone else who's just as intentional with their environment, it's an instant connection. Because they recognize the work it takes to build a clean inner and outer world. That's rare. And it's powerful. You also need to look at your digital environment. What are you feeding your mind every day? Who are you following? What kind of content are you consuming? Are you watching drama and distractions, or are you immersing yourself in content that makes you sharper, more aware, more inspired? Your brain is listening to all of it. Your subconscious is absorbing every bit. If you want to operate at a higher frequency, you can't let garbage in the door. You've got to protect your mental space like your life depends on it. Because it does. The people you attract are going to reflect the clarity or chaos you carry within. And one more thing. Sometimes it's not just about removing the negative. Sometimes it's about upgrading the neutral. There are relationships, habits, and routines that aren't toxic, but they're not fueling you either. They're lukewarm, comfortable, familiar. But you didn't come here to live a lukewarm life. You didn't come here to surround yourself with average energy. You came here to expand. You came here to evolve. That means being bold enough to let go of okay, to make room for exceptional. That's what high-energy people do. They're not driven by comfort. They're driven by alignment. And when you start doing that, they'll feel it. They'll recognize that you're serious, that you've created a space, internally and externally, where high-level energy is not only welcomed, it's required. Because remember this, your environment speaks before you do. It tells people how you live, what you value, and where you're going. And if you want people who are moving fast, dreaming big, and showing up fully, your life has to reflect that same energy. They won't stay where there's no space to grow. If you want to draw high-energy people into your life, you have to understand one thing: how you communicate matters. And I don't just mean your words. I mean your presence, your tone, your energy behind the words. You can say all the right things, but if the energy doesn't match, people feel it. Especially high-energy people. These are the ones who live with purpose, who have clarity, who move with intention. They're not fooled by surface-level charm or polished talk. They're looking for real. They're listening for truth. So if you want to connect with them, you've got to communicate with authenticity. You've got to show up with a presence that says, "This is who I am, and I mean what I say." Too many people are walking around trying to impress rather than connect. They're performing instead of expressing. They're talking just to be liked. But when your words are trying to earn approval, you weaken your own energy. You disconnect from your core. And that disconnect is what pushes high energy people away. Because they're not drawn to performance. They're drawn to alignment. They're drawn to people who speak with conviction, who are rooted in something real, not arrogant, not loud, but clear. And when you're clear, your communication cuts through the noise. Authenticity doesn't mean saying everything you think. It means saying what matters with integrity. It means not hiding behind masks or playing roles. It means knowing your values and being willing to speak from them, even when it's uncomfortable. Because real connection doesn't come from saying what's easy. It comes from saying what's true. When high-energy people hear you speak with realness, even if you don't have it all figured out, they listen. They lean in. Because honesty is rare. Passion is rare. Presence is rare. And those who carry it are remembered. Think about the people in your life who light you up when they talk. It's not just what they say. It's how they say it. There's energy in their words. There's intention in their voice. They speak with belief. They speak from lived experience. They speak to elevate, not to impress. That's the kind of communicator you want to become. Because high-energy people are busy building things, solving problems, creating impact. They don't have time for shallow talk or empty promises. They respond to energy that's focused, uplifting, and clear. And you don't need to have all the answers to communicate with power. In fact, pretending you do actually weakens trust. What creates connection is your willingness to be real about where you are and where you're going. Share your vision. Share your lessons. Share your excitement for what's ahead. Let people see the fire that's driving you forward. That kind of energy is contagious. People want to be around it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're present, because you're alive in what you're saying. Now, communication also means listening. Deeply. High-energy people don't just want to talk at you. They want to exchange energy. They want to be understood. They want to feel that you're really there with them, not waiting to talk, not faking interest, but genuinely tuned in. When you listen with your whole presence, you earn respect. You create trust. You open the door to connection that goes beyond surface level. And that's when the real magic happens. You've got to bring enthusiasm to your communication, too. Not fake hype, but real excitement. Talk about your life like it matters. Speak about your work like it's meaningful. Share your ideas like they're worth hearing. Because if you sound like you don't care, why should anyone else? High-energy people are fueled by passion. They're drawn to people who speak with conviction. So don't hold back your light. Don't downplay your ideas. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Speak up like someone who knows their voice matters. Because it does. And don't just communicate powerfully when it's convenient. Do it consistently. In every room, in every conversation, in every moment, let your words be a reflection of your standards. Let your tone carry your values. Let your presence communicate that you're someone who takes life seriously, not in a heavy way, but in a purposeful one. That's how you build trust. That's how you attract the kind of people who are going places. Because they're listening for signals. They're reading your energy. And when they hear clarity, authenticity, and enthusiasm in your voice, they'll know you're someone they can build with. Speak like someone who's already where they're headed. If you want high-energy people in your life, you need to go where they go. It's that simple. You can't stay in the same old places, with the same routines, the same patterns, and expect to suddenly start attracting new, vibrant, high-frequency individuals. That's not how it works. High-energy people move in growth-oriented spaces. They're not hanging out in places that breed complacency. They don't linger around people who are just talking about change. They're doing it. They're living it. So if you want to meet them, you have to step into their world. You have to raise your standard and position yourself in environments where growth is the norm. The truth is, most people say they want to grow, but they never leave the comfort zone that's been holding them back for years. They keep showing up to the same rooms with the same people, having the same tired conversations, and then wonder why nothing's changing. They wonder why they feel stuck, uninspired, disconnected. It's because the rooms you walk into are either feeding your expansion or feeding your excuses. And if you want to shift your life, you've got to start choosing the rooms that stretch you. The ones that make you feel a little uncomfortable. The ones where you're not the smartest person there. The ones that require you to level up just to stay in the conversation. Go where people are building something. Go where the standards are high. Where discipline is normal. Where vision is expected. That might mean stepping into a mastermind. That might mean going to events that challenge you. That might mean joining a group where people are pushing their limits in business, in health, in mindset. And yes, it's going to feel awkward at first. Yes, you might feel like an outsider. But that's exactly the point. Growth isn't supposed to feel familiar. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to challenge your identity. That discomfort you feel. That's the price of alignment. That's the entry fee for a higher quality circle. High-energy people surround themselves with other people who are committed. Committed to becoming better, to learning, to showing up fully. They feed off momentum. They don't want to sit around complaining about the past. They want to talk ideas, solutions, possibilities. If you want to connect with those people, you've got to put yourself in places where those kinds of conversations are happening. Don't wait for those people to magically show up in your life. You go to them. You seek them out. You walk into their world with humility, hunger, and intention. And let me tell you something, when you start showing up in these kinds of spaces, everything changes. Your language shifts. Your mindset sharpens. You start thinking bigger. You stop tolerating the things that drain you. Because when you spend enough time around people who are going somewhere, you begin to believe more deeply in where you can go. Their energy rubs off on you. Their standards challenge you. And over time, you don't just adopt their habits. You start becoming someone other high-energy people want to be around too. This isn't about networking in the shallow sense. It's about proximity. Proximity is power. Who you're around will either accelerate you or slow you down. That's not theory. That's reality. You've seen it in your own life. Spend time with people who complain all day, and you'll start to feel drained. Spend time with people who are creating, learning, expanding, and you'll feel lit up. That's the power of environment. That's the power of energy transfer. So be intentional about where you go. Be intentional about who you spend time with, because your future is directly tied to the circles you step into today. You also need to be bold. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until you're perfect. High-energy people aren't impressed by perfection. They respect progress. They want to see hunger. They want to see consistency. If you walk into the right room with a genuine desire to grow, with humility and a strong work ethic, people will notice. They'll help you. They'll pour into you. Because high-energy people recognize their own in others. And when they see someone who's serious, who's not just talking but taking action, they open doors. They share wisdom. They create space for you at the table. But you have to take that first step. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to stretch. Because if you're serious about attracting people who operate at a higher level, you can't keep living at the same one. Get out of your bubble. Seek out the rooms where greatness is being built. Walk in with confidence, with respect, and with a vision of who you're becoming. And watch how fast your life begins to transform. If you really want to attract high-energy people into your life, there's something you have to embody, and that's curiosity and positivity. I'm not talking about blind optimism or acting happy all the time. I'm talking about a deep, genuine hunger to understand life, to grow, to learn, not just about yourself, but about others. I'm talking about the kind of curiosity that fuels real conversations and the kind of positivity that brings light into any room you walk into. That's the kind of energy that pulls high-level people toward you. High-energy people are curious by nature. They're always asking questions. They're always learning, evolving, trying to understand the world on a deeper level. That's why they move the way they do. That's why they grow fast, why they elevate everything around them. And when they meet someone who has that same hunger, not someone who thinks they know it all, but someone who's truly open, who's asking better questions, they take notice. Because most people are closed off. Most people are trying to prove something. But high-energy people, they're not looking for people who know it all. They're looking for people who want to know more. That kind of curiosity is magnetic. When you're genuinely interested in people, when you ask real questions, when you listen without trying to interrupt, when you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. It creates a connection that most people never experience. It shows that you're present. It shows that you care. It shows that you value growth more than ego. And that energy is rare. People remember that. People are drawn to it. And the ones you really want in your life, the ones who are operating at a high frequency, they can feel when someone is coming from that place of genuine interest. But here's the key. You have to pair that curiosity with positivity. You've got to bring an energy that lifts the room. That doesn't mean you're always smiling or pretending things are perfect. It means that even when things are hard, you choose to respond with strength. You look for the lesson. You find a reason to keep moving. That's real positivity. That's not fake. That's not naive. That's powerful. And that's what high-energy people live by. They don't dwell on problems. They look for solutions. They don't gossip. They focus on growth. They don't shrink in the face of adversity. They rise. That's the energy you want to carry. That's the standard you need to live by. Because when you walk into a room with both curiosity and positivity, something shifts. People feel lighter around you. They feel seen, heard, uplifted. They feel your presence. And when you can make someone feel that way without needing anything in return, just because that's who you are, you become unforgettable. You don't have to chase connections. You don't have to force conversations. People naturally want to be around someone who makes them feel alive, who makes them think, who reminds them of their own potential. That's what you become when you lead with that energy. But make no mistake, this isn't about being passive. This isn't about being nice just to be liked. This is about showing up with power. The power of a mind that's open and a heart that's on fire. The power of someone who's not jaded, who hasn't let the world make them bitter. That's strength. And that's what high-energy people respect. They've been through storms too. They know what it takes to keep your spirit intact. When they see that in you, they recognize a peer, not a follower. So many people are trying to impress others by talking about what they've done. But if you really want to build powerful relationships, try this. Ask questions. Listen. Be curious about what lights other people up. Be curious about their vision, their struggle, their drive. Don't just look for what you can get. Look for how you can connect. When your presence is about contribution instead of validation, everything shifts. And when it comes to positivity, don't just speak it, live it. Be the person who brings calm to chaos. Be the one who sees possibilities when others see obstacles. That doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you face them with a belief that something better is possible. And when people feel that from you, they'll want you in their circle. Because energy like that is fuel. It's rare. And it's exactly what high-level people protect in their lives. You want to attract high-energy people. Then you need to bring a mindset that reflects curiosity and a spirit that carries light, even in dark moments. Because people are drawn not just to what you know, but to how you make them feel. And when you bring both wisdom and warmth, hunger and heart, you don't chase high-energy people. You become one. If you want high-energy people to show up and stay in your life, you have to learn to protect your own energy like it's sacred. Because it is. You can't attract people who are intentional, focused, and operating at a high level if your life is leaking energy all over the place. Think about it like this. High-energy people don't just value energy, they manage it like currency. They're not going to give their time, their presence, or their focus to someone who treats energy casually, who gives it away without thought, who doesn't guard it with discipline. And let's be honest, most people don't protect their energy. They say yes to things they don't want to do. They spend hours scrolling, comparing, consuming noise. They stay in conversations that go nowhere, entertain drama that serves nothing, and tolerate environments that keep them stuck. Then they wonder why they feel drained, why their motivation is gone, why high-energy people don't stick around. It's because energy speaks louder than words. And if your energy is constantly scattered, reactive, or chaotic, the people you want in your life will sense that. They'll keep moving, not out of judgment, but because they've worked too hard to protect their own peace. You've got to understand that protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means setting boundaries. It means being intentional about what you allow into your mind, your space, and your heart. It's about choosing your conversations, your commitments, your connections. High-energy people do this instinctively. They've learned that one low-energy conversation can throw off their whole day. One distraction can derail momentum. One toxic person can pull them back into a version of themselves they've outgrown. So they say no quickly. They don't over-explain. They don't apologize for prioritizing their peace. And if you want to operate at that level, if you want those people to see you as someone they can build with, you've got to do the same. Think about your time and energy as if they were your most valuable investments. Where are you spending them? Are you getting a return? Or are you constantly drained, running on fumes, trying to give from an empty cup? You can't pour into others if you're depleted. You can't inspire, lead, or connect if you're constantly burned out. So what habits do you need to break? What boundaries do you need to enforce? What patterns are stealing your energy, and how long are you going to keep allowing it? Because here's the truth, energy management is leadership, and high-energy people are drawn to other leaders. Not necessarily people with titles, but people who have mastered themselves, people who are disciplined, people who can say no without guilt, people who don't chase everything that moves but stay grounded in what matters. That kind of self-respect is powerful. It commands attention. It says, I value myself, I value my energy, and I value the people I choose to share it with. That's the energy that attracts people who are also walking in clarity and purpose. You have to take care of your mind. You have to take care of your body. You have to take care of your spirit. That's not soft, that's strategy. It's what keeps you sharp. It's what gives you the ability to handle pressure, to show up consistently, to bring value wherever you go. And when people see that you're serious about your own well-being, they'll know you're capable of contributing to theirs. High-energy people don't just want company. They want collaboration. They want someone who can help carry the vision, not someone who needs to be constantly pulled along. You don't get there by running yourself into the ground. You get there by protecting your energy like it's your life, because in many ways it is. You need rituals that recharge you. Maybe it's time in silence. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's reading, prayer, nature. Whatever fills your cup, build your life around that. Because the more you protect your energy, the more powerful your presence becomes. You'll speak with clarity. You'll move with certainty. And the right people will notice. They'll feel that you're not desperate for attention or validation. You're already full. You're already centered. And that kind of energy is magnetic. This is the work that happens behind the scenes. The decisions no one sees. The moments you choose rest over burnout, focus over distraction, peace over pleasing. And it pays off because the people you attract won't be guessing who you are. They'll see it. They'll feel it. They'll know they've met someone who respects themselves enough to manage their energy with purpose. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your potential.